In this video, we will discuss labeling cross-sections. If you'd like to follow along with this video, please open the file labelingcross-sections.dwg located in the training folder as discussed in the Working with this Dataset video. Civil 3D provides a few ways to add labels to the different parts in the cross-section views. Let's first examine what we have already in our cross-sections. As we discussed in the previous video, we have the view group properties defining what code set style gets used in each of the section views. However, what if you need to actually change or edit a label within the code set style? How do you do it? For an example here, let's say we want to change this slope label to actually show a rise over run. How do you find that? First off, if you select the actual quarter section and navigate to the properties palette, you'll see it's using the style of view-edit. So let's go ahead and navigate to that. Let's go to the Settings tab, General Category, Multi-Purpose Styles, and then Code Set Style View-Edit. Go ahead and double-click it. So what you have to think about is, again, the different components to a corridor model: point, link, and shape codes. So this is labeling the link code of daylight or possibly daylight fill. So let's go ahead and look up the link code, and if we look under daylight, this is using a label style called flat grades. We don't want that. We want to use a label style that's already in the drawing called steep grades. So we'll change it to that, click OK, and let's see what happens. Click OK, and notice how it updates automatically. Pretty cool. However, there's still a little bit of a problem. It's saying 2.00:1. We don't want that either. We want it to simply state 2:1. So let's find that label style. If we navigate under the general category and then label styles and then expand link, you'll notice that here are the label styles for the links. We want to go ahead and double click steep grades. And in the label style composer, let's go ahead and go to the contents property in the layout tab and click this ellipse button. Select the label property. And if we look here, this is why it's doing that precision. So change your precision to 1 and don't forget to click the arrow. That will update this label property. Click OK again, and do a regen. And as you can see, the label is updating automatically in each of the sections. Pretty cool, a nice global way to make changes. How do you label pipe network objects? To do so, simply navigate to the Annotate tab, Labels and Tables panel, and then click the Add Labels dropdown, and then simply choose the Add Pipe Network Labels, and then simply select the Single Part section or Entire Network section, and then you choose the label style for the pipe and structure objects. And it's that simple. One of the things to also point out, with labels in the corridor section, if you do happen to have an area that gets a little congested and you want to be able to move things around, you can do so very easily. Simply hold the Control key down on the keyboard and select the label you want to manipulate. I would then simply pick the blue grip and move it, and as you can see, it will actually move that label with a multi-leader and everything. How do you label a section? So remember, this is a corridor section. Let's go ahead and examine how to label an actual section, which is the surface line that you see here. So I'm going to go ahead and select the section line, which is the roadway bed surface, and notice how the ribbon becomes a contextual ribbon. Let's click on Edit Section Labels, and these are the types of labels you can add. So by selecting this way of labeling, you can add labels like major minor offsets, segment labels, grade breaks, and corridor points. However, the code set style allows you to granularly select different components of the corridor model to label those. If you want to label the offset and elevation at a certain increment, you can do so. Let's change this to major offset, pick this label style, and click Add. You can then tell it, I want to label at a specific increment. Let's say we want to label it every 25 feet with no anchor. We'll just type in 0 so it goes right to the actual location, and we'll go ahead and click OK. And now, as you can see, every 25 feet, we are seeing an offset label. Negative for left, positive for right. Press Escape to clear your selection set. If you go ahead and select a section view, you can also add some additional view labels. So these are section view labels. You can add an offset elevation label, and all you're pretty much doing is simply defining a point to snap, and there's your offset and elevation. Pretty simple stuff. If you click on the grade option, what you're doing here is simply defining 2 points to define a grade within your cross-section view, as you can see here. And there is the grade label. There are many ways to label the different components of your cross-sections.